Hello and welcome to Property Insurance Claims Fraud Review. My name is Greg Stafford. I'm a multi-line insurance claims adjuster, as well as a certified construction project manager. Today I'm going to be discussing how you can effectively use hydroxyl generators to eliminate odors of all kinds from your property claims. More than that, I'm also going to show you how you can neutralize fraud that often is involved in odor-only claims where there's no observable physical damage, just the odor that the insured or the occupants smell. Let's take a look at this article here from the Restoration and Remediation Info Center. I'll put a link in the description below. Hydroxyl generators, top tips for easy deodorization. Below the images showing hydroxyl machines in use in various locations, it states hydroxyl generators are safe to use in a variety of scenarios, from schools and daycare facilities to factories and big box stores. Then in the first paragraph of the article, written in 2016, it states how hydroxyl generators were first introduced to the restoration industry in the United States in 2008. But they haven't been widely accepted until recently. And as a property claim adjuster, I can tell you, they're not used very much at all by public adjusters or restoration contractors, or even by company or independent adjusters, because of the testing work that has been done since 2008 to validate the effectiveness of hydroxyl machines. So it is a relatively new technology in the sense that it's just now really catching on. That's why the opening paragraph of the article states, since it was a new technology, there was quite a bit of skepticism at first. After successful performance on many complex projects, the safety and efficacy of the technology was confirmed, and the use of these generators became widely accepted. So what is some of the testing that's been done that we can look to validate the effectiveness of hydroxyl generators? I'll link this article in the description below as well, from the Hydroxyl Group, Hydroxyl Generators, the Definitive Guide. And if we go down under the common myths about hydroxyl generators, the very first one is there isn't any real-world, proven research contractors can use to prove to a homeowner and or adjuster that hydroxyl generators work and are safe. The answer provided below states wrong. Testing has been performed over the years by reputable third-party companies such as Underwriters Laboratory UL, Lovelace Respiratory Research Institute, the FDA, Comparative Biosciences, and Wonder Makers Environmental. This research shows how many hydroxyl radicals are produced and how much ozone is produced, proving the machine's safety. Plus, one major hydroxyl generator brand has had its technology approved by the FDA as a Class II medical device for use in occupied areas, where ozone generators would typically not be used, due to safety concerns. In addition, a 13-week toxicity study on rats following FDA GLP guidelines showed no adverse effects. Wonder Makers Environmental, a firm that operates heavily as consultants for remediation contractors across the U.S., also conducted their own testing that showed a dramatic reduction in VOCs, that is volatile organic compounds, in addition to odor elimination while running a hydroxyl generator in a space affected by fire. So how do these hydroxyl generators work? Well, naturally, you would imagine they would produce hydroxyl molecules, and that's correct. It states that the generators produce the hydroxyl radicals that break apart odor molecules. It's a simple process compared to the other popular removal methods, as it does not require any additional intervention by masking agents, chemicals, oils, and so on. There's no fogging, spraying, or wiping. Hydroxyl generators work simply by being strategically placed throughout an odor-impacted property and turned on. While it will likely take a few days for full results, most people notice the malodor being knocked down within the first few hours. Okay, so it sounds like a really great technology if you're a property claims adjuster, right? Because we know, as I explained earlier, that the scopes of work and the estimates that are at times provided by contractors, public adjusters, and insureds for odor-only claims contain far more than is necessary, not only because of hydroxyl, but even under circumstances where hydroxyl machines aren't in use. The types of estimates and scopes of work for odor-only claims are often far beyond, as I described earlier, what is necessary. But with the use of hydroxyl, it changes things completely. Because whereas some of those scopes of work I mentioned are at times exaggerated beyond what is necessary for an odor-only claim, prior to the use of hydroxyl machines, thermal fogging and ozone machines were used, and they required, for the most part, that people be out of the property, all the animals be out of the property, plants out of the property, and that the contents be removed. Now, none of that is necessary. So let's take a look at the pros and cons. Is there anything we need to be concerned about with hydroxyl? Well, let's look at the pros first. We've talked about a few already, but let's look at their summary. Hydroxyls are the strongest commercially available antioxidant in the world and will eliminate more types of odors and VOCs than any other option. Unlike ozone, atmospheric hydroxyls are safe for people, animals, plants, and all sensitive materials like rubber, plastic, leather, vinyl, electronics, paper, and artwork. Contents can be wet while being deodorized without risk of bleaching. So there's quite a few benefits to hydroxyl machines, which is why adjusters tend to like the hydroxyl route. According to this article, and in my experience as an adjuster, I certainly like this route because it can eliminate or minimize business interruption claims since the occupants and the contents don't need to be removed when you use a hydroxyl generator. And I will add that this is true also for homeowners' claims, additional living expenses for when the homeowners may need to vacate the property under the old conditions, where a thermal fogging, ozone treatment, pack out, or even painting at times might be needed. That's no longer necessary. So when it comes to the use of hydroxyl machines, it's very important that you understand how to use them. Xactimate has line items, Xactimate being an estimating system produced by Xactware, used frequently by adjusters and contractors alike. It has line items for hydroxyl generators that you can use. If a public adjuster or a contractor or an insured come to you with a scope of work and an estimated cost for that work, which is both unnecessary in terms of the amount of work that they're claiming, and of course the corresponding cost. You don't need to gut an entire house or business property. You don't even need to repaint the entire interior of the property. You don't need to replace the floorings. You don't need to pack out the contents. The people don't need to leave the property. No ALE or business interruption expense. All you have to do now, when you have an odor-only claim, is assess the property accurately, make sure you use the right size and type and number of hydroxyl machines, and the odor that's behind the claim will be entirely eliminated without any additional work or activity necessary. There are additional machines you might use, like blowers, to help facilitate the dispersion of the hydroxyl molecules. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the restoration work that is often claimed when there's just an odor that we need to eliminate. No observable physical damage. Use the hydroxyl line items in Xactimate or in whatever estimating system you have, And if the insured, public adjuster, or their contractor come to you and say, we need more than that, ask them, did you even try that? Do you even know about hydroxyl machines? Why don't you try using the hydroxyl machines first before we even consider any further extent of work at the property, when the only issue involved in the claim is odor?